What's going on, YouTube? We're back at it for another video. Today we'll be doing the SELLEN'S quest line guide. We're going to make it all the way through this quest line, and this is one of those quest lines that you can do at any point during the game, even if you've made it all the way to the end of the game, beat it, and didn't go into New Game Plus. You can still complete this all the way to its fullest extent. But on that note, where we're going to need to start off with is going to be the waypoint runes. If you haven't made it to this place, best bet's probably going to go to the Agheel Lake North, and then just head down south until you hit the waypoint runes. Now, we've got more than a few things to cover with this, so let's get straight into it. Now, once you make it to the waypoint runes, we'll be able to go into the middle of it. There'll be a little dungeon area, and we will have to face off with one boss before getting to Sellen itself. It's going to be the Mad Pumpkinhead. He's not the hardest boss in the game, but if you're going to this pretty early on, could be a bit irritating. I know I died to him more than a few times, can be a bit frustrating, but my best choice of action was this guy was essentially just rolling off to the left of him, kind of getting underneath this flail, then hitting that body, considering we can't hit his head and deal any damage. Really frustrating in certain moments, especially if you've got that lock on. You could end up just striking that face and not dealing any damage. Happened more than a few times. But after that, we'll be able to open up a door, and we'll be at Sellen herself. We'll need to accept her as a teacher to ourselves, even if you're not a caster. That's how we're going to pretty much start this quest line. But at the same time, if you are a caster, this is going to be one of those first spots that you can start buying up some of those spells, giving yourself a bit more versatility when it comes to your casting abilities. But right after that, in order to progress the quest line itself, we're going to need to head over to the Volcano Manor just outside of it to meet up with a guy named AZUR, or Zur, something along those lines. Now, he'll be at that Lost Grace checkpoint over there if you've already been to that area. If you haven't been there and you don't want to go through the entire Volcano Manor just to get to this guy, best bet is going to go to the Classroom Lost Grace location, head out the right door, and then head over to this, or head up to this conveyor belt and start heading on down. Now, there's going to be a ledge on our right side. As soon as you see it, don't jump just yet. Trust me, it's going to be very frustrating. If you do, you will end up dying. Wait till it gets a bit closer, then jump off to the right. And down here, we've got another one of those robot virgins. Found out recently these things were called virgins. Can't believe I completely missed that name, but you'll see it here coming here in a bit. But we're basically going to need to get up inside of that robot. May take more than a few times. What we need to do is essentially die while inside of this robot. Now, I came back and did this to just get the gameplay footage to showcase the route you needed to take, so I was pretty much a bit over-leveled when it came to getting consumed by this, but lucky enough, kept eating me back up, and now we'll be at the midpoint, or middle of Volcano Manor, just underneath it. We'll be able to take a route outside of, or to the outside area of the Volcano Manor. If you'd like to see a guide on this area, I have that, I'll have it linked down in the description inside of my Rhea Lucaria video, part 2. But down here, we will have to face off with a double boss fight, which is going to be 2 of those robot virgins. It can be very frustrating, trust me. It's not the easiest one, even if you are a little bit over-leveled coming into this area. But from this point, that's going to be the room where the double boss fight will be. But lucky enough, we'll have a Lost Grace right after that, and do be aware there is going to be a jump right here that if you do miss the mark, going to have to roll on back. But from that point, we'll just drop down below and then head over to the right. There's going to be some explosive, what do they call that? Like methane gas explosions coming out of the ground, little geysers. Do be aware of that. They can knock you off the horse, can be quite damaging. Very frustrating to say the least. But from this point, we'll come to a fork in the road and we'll be able to head over to the left, and then we'll find ourselves at another Lost Grace location with a smaller type of castle. We'll just need to run on through here. Now, if you haven't been through this area already, over here on our left, there is going to be a magma dragon. Now, if you've already defeated this magma dragon and then you come back to this spot, you'll notice, I believe his name is Alexandria or something along those lines. He's going to be the pot guy. He'll be bathing inside of the lava. Apparently, he's trying to forge himself anew, or try to make sure that he's not crackable, but let's be real, if you get up close to him, yeah, he's pretty much close to falling apart. He's one swing away from it, or one Humpty Dumpty moment. But from that point, we'll keep on progressing forward, and there's going to be a giant bear over here. Whew, yeah. And if you want a guide on this area, check out my Volcano Manor guide. I've got that linked down in the description as well. But once we get to the very end of this area, we're going to have a little bit of a, a bigger boy monkey magic monkey, I should say. Not the hardest little mini boss to deal with, but before we get to the sorcerer himself, we'll have to deal with this. I did it on horseback, not too hard. I mean, you can clearly see it's fairly simple to avoid the damage of this guy. You don't have to be that high a level to get through here, and you will get a memory stone out of him. But over here on the left is going to be the guy we'll need to talk to. Essentially, he won't say anything. He'll just open his palm and give us the COMET AZUR. Yeah, his name is AZUR. But from this point, we'll just need to head back all the way to where Sellen is. Lucky we got that Lost Grace at the... or grab up the Lost Grace over here as well. Almost forgot to state that one as well. But before, or right after that, we'll just need to head back to Sellen. She'll have a little conversation with us talking about, oh, you've got the COMET AZUR, you know AZUR, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, right after we have this conversation, there'll be a dialogue option underneath the study sorcery. We'll need to talk to her about that. She'll start talking about her time at the academy, why she's been expelled, yada, yada, yada. She just wants more power from the stars or something along those lines. But then she'll ask us to open up or go after another sorcerer after we've gone through a couple of these dialogue options. She'll give us a key in order to get over to this next location. Now, with this, it would be a good idea, since we're going to be heading over into the Khalid area, you will want to defeat Radon in order to progress past this point. But essentially, we're going to need to head over to this secret cave in the back portion of Khalid. Now, if you don't, or if you haven't already been here, if you haven't found this just yet, you'll need to head over to that Church of Plague Lost Grace location. Head up along the right side. We'll have a graveyard on the left. There'll be a little mage enemy guy over here in front of a giant tombstone, and just behind him there's going to be an illusionary wall on the face of this cliffside. We'll just need to hit that and then be able to enter into SELLIA's hideaway. Now, from that Lost Grace location, we'll pretty much just be diving into this little crystal cave. There'll be a couple of those crystal type enemies, but we'll come into an open area, and on our right is going to be another one of those crystals. We'll walk along that, have to deal with some type of mage over here. There's a couple of snails on the left, but we still need to head back over to the right, drop down until we see this large crystal down below. You'll see the gate just over here that we need to open with that key. Now we'll be coming, I believe it's LUSAT, I believe that was his name. We'll also get a pretty decent spell, which is going to be a Star of Rains or Storm, I can't remember the name of it. But then, now in order to progress this, we will need to defeat Radon by this point. You can come back to her and give her this, and she'll have a little bit of dialogue, but it won't be able to continue the full-on side quest until after we've defeated Radon. Now, once you've defeated Radon, you come back to her right here. She'll essentially be like, oh yeah, you've been talking to a fake version of myself, a puppet in a way. She's going to be over at these ruins over here at the bottom left portion of Limegrave itself. We'll need to head to the Lost Grace at this church location over here, as it's just going to be down below from this church location. Now, once we get there, instant leader, hey, appreciate it, man. But from this point, essentially double back through the front door of this church, broken down church location. Head over to the right on this, goodness, I could have edited this a bit better. But, as I slowly take my time, we'll head over to the right, and there's going to be a graveyard over here, or ruins, I should say. There'll be a couple of those illusionary type enemies, a couple of bats to deal with, and once we get down there, there's a couple of enemies that we need to take care of before we get down into the small dungeon where Sellen is currently residing. As you'll notice, we've got some of those whirly blade guys. Do take them out before coming down here. Can be quite frustrating. But then we'll be able to talk to her down here, and essentially we'll be reaching inside of her chest to pull out her life force, or her life stone, soul, essentially. Another day on the job for Reaper, pretty much. But from that point, now I'm not sure if it cuts over, we'll essentially need to head back to, some of you may need to head back to the Castle Redmane, as we need to talk to the Witch Hunter. He's going to be just beyond this Lost Grace over here, in this room before we headed into the Radon boss fight. He'll be sitting in this chair over here. We'll need to exhaust his dialogue right here, and if you haven't faced any enemies over at Redmane, you maybe just went straight into Fight Radon. Didn't have any enemies there. After you exhaust that dialogue, all the enemies and doors shall be open inside of that location. But from that point, we'll need to head back to Sellen, down inside of those ruins, Witchbane ruins, I believe that was the name of it. And then we're going to find Witch Hunter down here, which has killed the non-host body of Sellen now. You know, he starts talking about her. He's got his, he's a witch hunter. He's going after him. He thought she was too powerful, needed to take her out, didn't like her. You know, I guess all part of the job, I suppose. He'll keep talking and on and on. But from this point, now we'll need to head back to the Three Sisters location, which is going to be at Ronnie's Rise, and we'll need to head over to the ruins just to the left of Ronnie's Rise itself. Now, if you haven't gone through this area, the Caria Manor, gotten to this location, head over to my Caria Manor guide. I'll have that link down in the description as well. But from the point of that Ronnie's Rise, Lost Grace location, we'll head down, and to the left you'll notice some ruins over here. There's going to be an illusionary wall or illusionary floor that we'll need to hit right in this location, and there'll be another illusionary wall just left of this yellow beaming light text on the ground about Selvis's text, I believe that was his name. Then we'll be able to throw in that stone over here to Sellen and activate her, give her new life. Now from that point we'll need to head back to the Grand Library inside of Raya Lucaria, if you also haven't been through the Raya Lucaria location. I've got a guide on that. I'll have it linked down in the description as well, because you will need to have defeated Renala before being able to finish this last portion. Now this is going to be the final portion of the side quest line itself. Essentially what we're going to have is a choice to either help out with the Witch Hunter or help out with Sellen. Now if you do help Sellen, she will give you a nice dagger that's going to have some magic damage. Could be good for some of those people that are going for a caster melee type of build. And she will also have the ability for you to get the Witch Hunter's outfit and 2 different set armors for mages that won't necessarily have attribute bonuses, but there'll be some cosmetic look for some of those mages. Now if you do end up helping out with the Witch Hunter, you will get an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. Probably one of the fastest routes to get one of those Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones without having to run into in-game area, run past all these enemies, and grab up some of those items. Could be something for some of those people that are possibly trying to run through that New Game Plus. Just grab that up as quick as possible. Or possibly, if you're just doing this with a different character and you want that max level weapon, trying to go through and get that completionist goal with that character, could be beneficial for you. Now, I don't have the gameplay footage going for helping out with the Witch Hunter. All I have is the Sellen's questline, but I did make sure to look up what exactly you would get if you went the other route. Essentially just going to have a different dialogue, and it's just going to end right there either way that you make this choice. But that's going to be the Glintstone KRIS, the dagger that I was talking about. Gives us a bit of that magic damage along with the physical. Could be pretty solid for some of those people that are just trying to go for that cast or melee type of build. But from that point, if you did end up helping out with Sellen, we'll need to pretty much sit at the Lost Grace. Renala will come back, and Sellen has transformed into something I don't think she quite expected. The stars seem to have cursed her. But we'll also get her crown, which is going to give us a boost to our intelligence and arcane at the cost of stamina, I believe. But if we head back to the AZUR location, like I told you, grab up that Lost Grace, we'll be able to head back and grab up all of his armor set. We'll be able to utilize this. Looks pretty nice. Out of the 2, that's probably one of my favorite ones, but we're not going to get any attribute bonuses, just going to be some solid gear that gives us pretty decent rolls when it comes to vitality and focus for some of those mages, and not exactly the heftiest thing to wear as well. But from that point, we'll need to head back also to the SELLIA hideaway and head back to where LUSAT was, and we'll be able to grab up his armor set as well. Now, you won't get these 2 armor sets if you did head with the Witch Hunter, but if you're not a caster, these armor sets are just going to be purely cosmetic for you, nothing that's really that special. You could just do it on a second playthrough, but that's going to be the end of the Sellen's side quest line. Full guide right there done. Got plenty more of these coming in the future. I've still got to do Millicent, Fia, Dung Eater, Ronnie's side quest line. Goodness, there's a whole bunch of them that I still need to produce over the next couple of days. A lot of work on the, a lot of work on the plate, essentially. But we'll also have the Khaled guide coming here in the future, so if you'd like to see any of these as well, do hit that subscribe button, and if you'd like to see some of this content live, head over to the link in the description, follow me over at Twitch. And for some of those people that may have already been followed over at Twitch that have noticed, been a bit inconsistent with the streaming, trust me, very frustrated about myself, having some issues with my ISP, hardware in general, upload speed, for whatever reason, just keeps tanking at certain moments. Nothing worse than going in for an 8-hour stream and then 2 hours in, for whatever reason, upload speed drops to less than 1 megabyte a second for 40 minutes, then having to restart, and then it just happens again. A lot of trial and error with this one, but hopefully by this weekend we should be all cleared up and done with that, back on a regular schedule for the streams, getting some of this content out a lot quicker and just a lot less frustrating. But on that note, hopefully you've enjoyed this, hope it's helped you out, and have a good one.